As half the world has just been consumed by the 2022 FIFA World Cup, what better time to release a sports RPG focused on soccer? There is something about sports RPGs that really appeal to me. I haven't played too many games in this niche genre, but I'm always keen to jump aboard when they do pop up. Soccer Story was developed by Panic Barn, who are not the same guys that brought us Golf Story back in 2017. As the name suggests, Soccer Story tells a story about soccer. You'll spend time completing quests around town to increase your stats, then compete against other teams in a retro-style soccer game. Soccer Story does have quite a few things going for it, but I do feel that this game is definitely suited to a certain kind of audience. Before we get into it, if you like this review, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button, and as the great Mr. Beach once said, don't forget to like and sub. Also, a review code for this game was provided by the publishers, and all footage that you see is taken from the PS4 version of the game. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, to start things off, I really need to address the elephant in the room. If the word soccer is not in your vocabulary, then fear not. There is a language option that substitutes the word for football, which, let's be honest, is a really nice touch and probably prevents pissing off a good 3/4 of the world. Now, Soccer Story is absolutely a chill game. It is not going to drive you crazy like FIFA. Instead, the story, the characters, and the writing is light-hearted, ridiculous, and charming. So, what's it all about? 1 year ago, after an epic goal was scored, the calamity tore apart the foundations of soccer as we know it. Since then, the evil Soccer Inc. have enforced a worldwide soccer ban, only allowing their own controlled matches. Just muttering the S word in public could be met with severe consequences. The sport may be dead, but there is hope. The hope lies with Leo, or Kai if you choose the female character. Leo, or Kai, comes across a magical soccer ball and sets out on a quest to restore the sport to its former glory. Now, if you're a soccer fan, you'll probably appreciate some of the references and themes of Soccer Story, mainly relating to FIFA's corruption scandals. Not being a fan personally, a lot of it probably flew right over my head, but I do not feel that a lack of world soccer knowledge impacted my enjoyment of the game in any way. Leo's objective is to form a team of 5 soccer players from his local town, then travel through several regions, reuniting the local teams and then winning each regional cup. This will lead to the participation in the Apple Cup run by Soccer Inc. You really can't take Soccer Story too seriously. It's light-hearted and fun, and the world is full of many NPCs capable of putting a smile on your face with their amusing dialogue. Like at one point, there's 2 NPCs arguing over the sport being called soccer or football, which is a debate most of us have probably had at one point. To set the record straight, it's soccer, but if you hit that like button, I'll call it anything you want, baby. You are certainly not going to be playing this game for a gripping narrative, but for what Soccer Story sets out to do, this cheerful tale will do more than enough to keep you engaged. Soccer Story has quite the unique graphical style with its blocky visuals and 3D environments. I quite like this, and it definitely works well for a cozy gaming experience. I also liked the relaxing musical tracks that play while exploring, but they clearly ran out of musical notes at some point. Seriously, you could probably count the number of tracks on one hand. The real issue here is that the soccer matches themselves are completely void of any music at all. All you hear is the crowd and sound effects. These are basically the equivalent to boss fights in traditional RPGs. I mean, imagine versing Sephiroth where they replaced One Winged Angel with the sound of silence, and I'm not talking about Simon and Garfunkel here. This was probably Soccer Story's worst design choice. Unfortunately, I also encountered a fair share of bugs and glitches. There were a couple of side quests that I couldn't finish due to not being able to talk to the NPC. There were several spots where the frame rate dropped to about 2 and places where you could run through the walls. Some challenges also didn't seem to function correctly, such as the ones where you have to curve the ball in or slide it into the goals. Simply running the ball in seemed to be enough. None of these were game breaking, but it is clear that the game needs quite a bit more polish. Roughly 85% of my time with Soccer Story was spent on exploration and puzzle solving. These sections felt very Zelda-like in that you travel around the regions with secrets to uncover around every corner. You start off with access to Soccer Town, with the other regions being unlocked after reuniting the soccer teams in the area, then winning the regional tournaments. This can get a tad repetitive, particularly towards the end of the game, but it was never too much of an issue since Soccer Story is short, only taking me around 15 hours to complete. The best time I had was running around the world trying to discover everything, solve all the puzzles, and ultimately increase the stats of my team to win tournaments. There is also an impressive amount to do, from finding coins to hitting targets to participating in loads of mini-games. Most of these objectives require the use of some sort of soccer skills, such as aiming with the right analog stick to shoot your ball. Some objectives also require a certain amount of a stat, such as increasing your shot power to hit higher targets, so it's always worth returning to previous areas multiple times. Not all of these challenges and mini-games are created equal though. Most of them are enjoyable, but some are just annoying. Foot golf was one of my favourites, even though there were only 3 holes in total. Swimming, on the other hand, I think I must have been missing something here because I could not come close to reaching the finish line. Then there's volleyball, which was a lot of fun until it became seemingly impossible to win. Finding absolutely everything, completing every side quest, and maxing out your stats will take a lot of effort. I didn't complete everything, but I did give it all a go. These puzzles and mini-games were my favourite thing about Soccer Story. Now, let's get into the meat of the game, the soccer. As mentioned before, the amount of soccer you'll actually be playing compared to exploration is fairly low. Instead, soccer matches will take place once you've completed the main regional objectives. This will unlock a 4-team tournament, and winning it is required to unlock the next region. The mechanics of these matches feel very retro. In fact, I was getting major Tecmo World Cup soccer vibes, which was one of my favourite childhood games. These 5 vs 5 matches are simple but fun. You can switch control between 4 fielders, with your goalie controlled by AI. Initially, you can just pass, shoot and slide, but you'll soon unlock additional abilities such as the shark slide. For some reason, the lob pass was only unlocked very late in the game, and I felt that this was a necessary mechanic that should have been there from the very start. The difficulty of these soccer matches seemed perfect at the start of the game. I was learning the basics and the matches were close, but it didn't take long before things got way too easy. And this wasn't because I was getting better mechanically, it was because I found ways to exploit the system. It was all about the cheese, and the goalie mechanics is the main culprit here. Goalies are capable of blocking many close-range shots in succession, yet will consistently let goals through from the other side of the field. This took all of the fun out of many of my matchups. Now, I did try upping the difficulty towards the end of the game, but all that did was put the opposition on speed, making it feel impossible to get the ball, let alone win. Some other issues holding these soccer matches back were that there were no formations, no positions, no different characters you could recruit, and no overtime if it's a tie. You would think that these elements would be a given, considering this is, you know, a soccer game. As much as I did enjoy these short, simple soccer matches for a while, I will be the first one to admit they were flawed. Much like England's recent penalty shootout efforts, Soccer Story is very hit and miss. It does have a bit going for it. The game is charming, full of humour, and really easy to sit down and chill with. There's also an impressive amount of puzzles to solve and things to discover. And while there could not possibly be a more appropriate time to release Soccer Story, I feel that the game should have been cooked in the oven a little longer, if not only to fix all of the bugs and glitches. The simple retro-style soccer matches do their job, but there are a few mechanical issues that really hold it back, mainly the goalie AI. It is also absolutely unforgivable that there's no music during these boss fight-like tournaments. Soccer Story is not for everyone, and I would only recommend it to those who love sports RPGs or soccer/football. Soccer. Does Soccer Story interest you? Or if you've played it, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this review, please listen to the great Mr. Beach by hitting like and subbing for more RPG content coming soon. This was Hellfire RPGs. See you next time.